Welcome to Stories by Candlelight, a place for cozy, immersive storytelling. This is an original story, created exclusively for this channel. If you enjoy relaxing stories, slow burn romance, and warm winter tales, please like, follow, and subscribe to support the channel. Now, settle in, and let's begin. Chapter 2, Part 1, Coffee, Tools, and Unfinished Stories. Morning light spilled like gold over Evergreen Hollow, warming the snow-covered rooftops and illuminating tiny frost. Crystals on the window panes. A soft hush lay over the village. The quiet of a place that believed deeply in slow mornings and warm beginnings. Inside the lantern bookshop, Lena startled awake, curled beneath a blanket she had found behind the counter. She blinked, momentarily unsure where she was. Then the scent hit her. Paper, dust, lavender, home. She sat up slowly, her body stiff from sleeping on the floor, but her heart strangely light. The manuscript lay beside her bag, exactly where she had left it. Untouched, waiting. "Good morning," she whispered to it, as if speaking to a person. The bell above the door jingled softly. Lena gasped and jolted upright. Evan stepped inside, snow sprinkled in his hair, a toolbox in one hand and 2 steaming coffees in the other. "You're awake," he said, smiling as he nudged the door shut with his boot. "Good, because I brought essential survival items." "You brought coffee," Lena said gratefully. "That makes you my favorite person today." Evan lifted one brow. "Just today?" Lena's cheeks warmed. "Don't push your luck." He laughed, a warm, deep sound that filled the bookshop effortlessly. He placed the coffee on the counter and set the toolbox down with a low thud. "You slept here?" he asked, glancing at the blanket. "I may have," Lena admitted. "I lost track of time reading last night." His expression softened. "Was it the manuscript?" Lena hesitated, then nodded. "I only read a few pages," she said. "But it felt like Rosemary was writing to someone she missed desperately. The story is told through letters, all addressed to Winter." Evan leaned his hip against the counter. "Winter? Like the season?" "That's what I thought. But the more I read," she swallowed, "the more it felt like a person. Someone she cared for. Someone she lost." Evan studied her for a moment. "Did it feel personal?" he asked. "Yes." Lena tightened her grip on the cup. "And unfinished. The last page I read ended mid-sentence." Evan nodded slowly. "Then maybe the rest is hidden somewhere else in the shop." Lena blinked. "You think there's more?" "It wouldn't surprise me," he said, glancing toward the back wall. Rosemary was a treasure chest of secrets. Lena smiled faintly. "That's an understatement." Evan crouched beside the crooked floorboard he'd stepped on last night. "I'll start with this," he said, "before it decides to kill me." "Very considerate," Lena answered. "I'd like my carpenter alive, thank you." He looked up at her, amused. Then softer. "I'm glad you're staying, Lena." She froze. Evan seemed to realize what he said at the same moment and cleared his throat. Returning to the toolbox as if it held all the answers to life, Lena forced her heartbeat to slow. "I'm glad I'm here too," she whispered. A soft knock. Hours later, after Evan repaired the loose floorboards and replaced the winter seal on the window, the bell chimed again. This time, a woman in a green wool coat and matching mittens stepped inside. She looked to be in her early 50s, with warm brown eyes and a smile that held stories. "Hello," she said. "I'm Agnes. I used to help Rosemary with the bookshop." Lena brightened. "It's so nice to meet you. I've been trying to learn more about her." Agnes walked toward a shelf near the back, running her hand over the spines affectionately. "She loved this place," she said quietly. "And she loved people in her own quiet way. She wasn't one to talk about feelings, but she felt them deeply." Lena's chest tightened. "Did she ever mention—" She searched for words. "Family?" Agnes hesitated, just enough for Lena to notice. "She didn't," Agnes said. "But she wrote things down. She always wrote things down." Evan straightened from the floor. "Like the manuscript?" Agnes paused. "Manuscript?" Lena retrieved it from her bag. Agnes covered her mouth. "Oh, Rosemary. Did she ever talk about it?" Lena asked. "No," Agnes whispered. "She kept her writing private. But I know she hoped someone, one day, would finish what she started." Lena's pulse quickened. "Finish it?" she asked. Why didn't she finish it? Agnes hesitated again. This time longer. She said, Agnes began softly. that the last page could only be written by the person the story belonged to. Lena felt the room tilt. The person it belonged to? She repeated. Agnes nodded slowly. Her eyes glistened with meaning. Yes, she said. Rosemary wrote it for someone she left behind. Lena swallowed hard. Her fingers trembled. And for the first time, she wondered, had Rosemary written it for her? A moment at the window. As Agnes left, promising to bring old photos and notes, Lena stood by the window staring into the snowy afternoon. Evan wiped his hands on his jeans and walked up behind her. Lena, he said gently, you okay? She didn't look back. I'm starting to think my whole life existed in someone else's shadows, she whispered. And now that I'm here, all those shadows suddenly have names. Evan hesitated. Then he rested a warm, cautious hand on her arm. You don't have to explore them alone. Lena looked at him and something inside her shifted. A small, unexpected thaw. Thank you, she murmured. He nodded. I'll help however I can. A long moment passed. Evan stepped away reluctantly, clearing his throat. I should finish fixing the upstairs steps before they collapse under someone more delicate than me. You mean me, Lena teased. His smile deepened. I didn't say it. You implied it. Maybe. She laughed softly. Outside, snowflakes drifted. Inside, the air warmed. And as she turned back toward the shelves, Lena felt it. Something had begun. Something larger than the bookshop. Larger than the manuscript. Larger than her fear. A story. Her story. Chapter 2, Part 2. Letters to Winter. As evening settled over Evergreen Hollow, the bookshop glowed softly under the warm lantern hanging in the window. Snow drifted past the glass like slow-moving confetti, and the world outside sounded quiet, muffled, safe. Lena sat at the counter with the manuscript open before her. Evan worked upstairs, the distant sound of tools echoing gently like a heartbeat in the old building. She untied the red ribbon and smoothed the first page. Rosemary's handwriting was elegant, looping, full of emotion. The first letter began. My dearest Winter, the snow returned today, not the heavy kind, but the soft kind, the kind that falls as if it remembers your name. I find myself thinking of you more often as the nights grow long. I wonder if you ever read the last words I wrote. I wonder if you kept them, folded in your pocket like a promise neither of us knew how to keep. Lena stopped, breath catching. She whispered the word, Winter. It felt heavy, personal, like a memory she didn't yet possess. She flipped to the next letter. Winter, there are things I should have told you, things I was too afraid to speak aloud. If I had been braver, perhaps none of this would have happened. A soft creak above her made her jump. Evan descended the stairs, wiping dust from his hands. You look like you saw a ghost, he said with a small smile. Maybe I did, Lena murmured. Or maybe I'm reading one. He moved closer, leaning against the counter. Did you find something important? Lena hesitated. Then she read aloud. There are things I should have told you. Things I was too afraid to speak aloud. Evan's brows knit together. Sounds like regret. Or confession, Lena whispered. Evan watched her for a moment, something flickering in his gaze. Empathy, maybe. Or understanding. You don't have to rush, he said gently. Manuscripts like this, they reveal themselves slowly, one truth at a time. Lena nodded, though her pulse quickened. I want to understand her, she admitted. Why she left everything to me. Why my mother kept her a secret. Why this room was hidden. Evan's voice softened. You will, and I'll help however I can. She looked down, her throat tightening. Thank you, she whispered. Always, he said quietly. A sudden invitation. Evan cleared his throat, straightening a bit. So, he began, rubbing the back of his neck. A gesture that made him look younger, almost shy. There's something happening tonight. Lena raised a brow. Something? The winter market, he said. It's the first night of it. Lanterns, music, food, handmade gifts. The whole town turns up. That sounds beautiful. It is. He hesitated. Then, would you like to go with me? Lena blinked, caught off guard. With you? He shrugged lightly, trying and failing to seem casual. Well, it's not far, and it's easier to enjoy if you're not wandering alone, not knowing anyone. And He stopped. Started again. I'd like to show you the place. Through my eyes. Her heart fluttered in a way that felt both new and frightening. "I'd love to," she said softly. Relief washed over his features. "Great, I'll, give you time to change, if you want." Lena glanced at her dusty sweater and laughed. "Yes, I definitely want." A quiet moment before the night. As Evan returned upstairs to finish packing up, Lena leaned over the manuscript again. Another loose page had slipped from between the letters. A fragment. She lifted it carefully. The ink was faded, the edges torn. And if she ever finds this winter, please tell her the truth. She deserves to know why I left, why I couldn't stay, why I chose silence instead of breaking her heart twice." Lena's breath hitched. Who?" she whispered. "Me?" The shop suddenly felt colder. A shadow of truth hovered in the corners, close enough to touch, yet not fully formed. Evan called from the stairwell. "Ready?" Lena folded the paper gently. "Coming," she answered. But as she stepped toward the door, she looked back at the manuscript, at the hidden truth waiting inside it. And in that moment she knew tonight would be magical, but tomorrow might change everything.